Yeah, you have to bomb out Night Corps before that happens.
So that's
Yeah,
gonna
we're
be the
gonna.
real pro strat. First, where we should start is just let's go. I'm gonna go to the slide where the actual factions are. Cause for whatever reason, that's like way down. For those that haven't done it, the ones we're talking about, Night Corps here. I saw someone ask that specifically. This is the thing Tris is talking about here. So radiation is industrial movement type. Use the Night Corps to let them create radiation. Radiation flex. Is that what they're calling them? Flex.
I
What?
think so. Yeah, I've heard them saying radiation flex.
Oh god.
Okay.
I call them radiation nodes. Much easier.
Right, yeah. So, and then for those that don't know what the radiation nodes are, if you guys, I'll pull up the pick dump thing where it shows it spreading because this is a pretty good visualization.
Well, it's not spreading, but it's like randomly spawning in on locations.
Well, he's going to remove it, so it's going to be like cleaning it up. So that's like going to be the radiation on the map, and it's going to kill all your hexes. Still in stream, just watching instead of chilling on Discord. Physical. And 100 speed on industrials low. Yeah, I mean, like, but it's 100 hexes per minute, right? Like, is that, or no, 100 hexes per hour. Like, so it's the normal hour thing. So you see, it looks like, oh, lul's 100 speed, but like, I don't know. It's still not going to be like the end of the world.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's like it used to be 30, and even then Night Corps was like decent. But now with 100, it's even better.
Yeah.
Like most people don't realize that the 100 speed is for industrials is like not an overall boost. It's like a specific boost for Night Corps.
Mm-hmm.
It's specifically making Night Corps better.
Yeah, also subject to change. Oh, I say most of this probably isn't going to be changed by Friday. I can probably go out on a good limb and think that that's not going to happen. Under the cover of darkness, all units gain. So there's going to be a lot more stealth stuff. He said a lot of the stuff's going to be. You're going to want to see the stuff incoming because this is the way they can sow radiation and stealth. Start with 5 extra spies. That's okay. That's whatever. So
yeah, like if you put a scanner on your second station or your first station, you're fine. It ain't that difficult. Just scanner of 200 and that building giving another 200 and a base of 100.
Right.
It ain't that special.
So Surpassive, this is the Bortz faction. Due to the changed physiology of boards, they suffer no losses when cleaning up radiation. That's a thing. Everyone else takes radiation, loses indies when you clean up radiation. And this is what you guys were memeing about: 100 speed for industrial fleets, +1 augmentation point. Everybody has augmentation points, so that's something else. Generation industrial augmentation point per hour. So these guys are the little bit better augmentation guys, but everyone can augment and should augment.
Yeah, but I'm like not impressed by the extra augmentation point because that's like one more where I've already got 4. So that's like nothing. What I'm really impressed about is the not losing indies. If you were to have a Night Corps player with 3 full indie fleets, he can take out like 6.25 station productions. That means that you've got to commit 6.25 station productions full time to building industrials to compensate for losses.
Right.
That's a late game thing, or actually it can be done after 2 hours playtime, and Night Corps can just totally wreck you.
Yeah.
And that's the real use of Bortz. Bortz is the one that beats Night Corps. Night Corps beats the Less Apaches and Gatos Tritos, and Gatos Tritos and Less Apaches beat Bortz.
And kind of each other, depending on... but yeah, this is Gatos Tritos. You guys can see it. It's better light units, more speed and plunder. Plunder affects hangars without a policy now, so you can raid people's hangars with plunder. So plunder got a little bit of a buff, just even though it could already do that, but it's pretty nice. Credit income increased by 20%. There's a lot more things that do, increase damage. I mean, more credit. So getting 20% additional, it could come in. I'm not thrilled about Gatos. They're the one, like, all of it's okay. None of it's bad. But I don't know. I don't know if you guys have any comments.
I think the credits are interesting because those 20% credits, if you want to have like a good credit income, that means you got to get 1 credit node on the map, which is 6k, and you've got a base production of 3k, which brings up to 9k, and you build 1 times the tier 4 credit thingy, which brings you up to 12k. If you do that, you've already got like plenty of credits, I think. But if you
Yeah.
get Gatos with it, you can get even more. So that's like 2,400 credits each hour extra. That's 2 legendary cards. I think that's worth it.
I'm gonna be going Gatos because I sort of
Really?
look at it like none of the things in Gatos is exceptional, right? But then I look at every other faction and I see like one or two things that are good and some other things that are kind of unnecessary, but Gatos is just like a buff to playing the way you should play if you want to win. Like, I will have cards, so the credit income will help. I will raid people, so that will help. I will build light ships, so that
Yes.
will help.
Vets upon vets upon vets.
Yeah, because that light ship versus heavy ship balance is something interesting. Because this is actually quite a long story. It's about heavies versus lights, and which ship classes you should choose. Because you've got three classes: the Corvette, Destroyer. I'll just call it C and D. You've got S and R, Scout and Recon, and you've got the P and F, Patrol and Frigate. And if you were to have 2 classes, because 3 classes means that you have to focus on 3 kinds of ships and also 3 kinds of boosts, which means you have to spread your organizations, which means less FP overall. So you're going for 2 classes, which means you have 1 heavy class and 1 light class, because there's a tier 1 organization for lights and tier 2 for heavies. So that means you've got
Let me go
a
to
heavy
combat real
class
quick,
and a
just
light.
so they can have context of what you're
That's
saying.
a good one.
Yeah. So this is what you're talking about right now, right? Where these are all in their own classes, and they actually call them what Raider, what they still call them Assault, and then Utility. I think they called the other one.
Yeah, but like it's not utility anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can keep it on this one. This one seems good.
Specifically, let's actually knock out the last faction real quick, and then we'll come immediately to here, just so so everyone has context when we talk about the rest of the factions from here on out.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I know you got into. Okay.
So less Apaches.
Yeah,
Less Apaches has a special attack, Motitas, because in a normal fight, frigates will beat destroyers, and destroyers will beat recons, and recons beat frigates. But less Apaches has a special ability, the Motitas attack, which will make you just fight the ships of your kind. So frigates would only fight patrols and frigates. Destroyers or corvettes would only fight corvettes and destroyers. And scouts or recons would only fight scouts or recon. And you get a 10% firepower buff, which is amazing. So
in those particular fights, right? Just Motitos, or fleets of Motitos.
Yeah, So that means that you've got that tiny bit of boost, and if we were to go back to your fleets right now, we choose 1 heavy type and 1 light type. And we will always want to choose a light type that is beaten by our heavy type. So if we go frigates, we want to go corvettes. If we go destroyers, we want to go scouts. And if we go recons, we want to go patrols.
Yeah, that's actually my current plan. Before I've done too much research, is I was gonna do the destroyers and scouts as kind of my 2 big thing, playing as less Apaches, and kind of utilizing that, as you're saying.
Yes, that's a very interesting idea, especially if you're playing less Apaches. A destroyer scout player would, for example, be able to Motitas if you fight a frigate and corvette player. This frigate corvette player would, in a normal circumstance, be able to beat you because he has frigates versus destroyers and corvettes versus scouts, and you just have scouts versus frigates. And scouts have very little firepower. However, with Motitas, everything changes. Because you can now, with your destroyers, defeat my corvettes first. Which means that afterwards you just have scouts versus frigates. And that's like in your advantage.
Yeah, well,
that's
so
how you beat me.
the big thing is I think you're gonna have to. It's like there's so much utility with, and I guess that's what they call utility fleets, but like not having all your shit be sabotaged the whole damn game. Like you're gonna have to have either scout or recon. Like I can't see you going frigate, corvette, or destroyer ats. Like I think you have to throw them in there, right? And then I think a lot of people will be rolling Corvettes because that's just the common card. So if I'm running destroyers, I'll easily be able to constantly just spam take out people's Corvettes with my destroyers with Motitas.
Yeah, that's really something that worries me, the sabotage, because I don't see a place for sabotage in this game, or not in the form of being it done by any ship. Because recons and scouts now have the ability to actually Motitas without having less Apaches. You don't get the 10% firepower boost, no, but that's not a problem. I'd actually still like less Apaches if I got minus 10% firepower.
Yeah. No, I think it's gonna be fantastic. Pick your battles.
Yeah.
This is part of why I've picked Gatos over Laser Patches, just because, I can do a poor man's Motitas. I can send recons or scouts in and wipe out my opponent's fleets that way.
And then immediately hit with frigate. So you think a lot of people will be going like frig scout or something? Because of that?
I agree that scout and recon are going to be a really big thing, just because, sabotage will really mess with people this game. Though honestly, sabotage isn't the best. Like, sabotage is good against missile batteries, but almost everything else you'd want to sabotage, you should just play Nightcore instead and irradiate the hexes, because there's no way to defend that.
Have you considered the removal of augmentation?
So
you get just 4 augmentation points per hour, but I'm not actually sure about this, but if sabotage were to remove augmentation,
it does, right? Yeah.
One of those points.
Yeah, I think it does that normally.
In sovereign space, it does.
Right.
So that means that you can actually sabotage someone has mining facility, someone has mining colony, someone has trading port constantly, or missile battery, and he'd be losing augmentation points really fast. So he basically couldn't augment his outposts.
I think I've changed what I'm doing now. So I'm gonna stay less Apaches, but yeah, this brought up a pretty good point. I could go scout and frigate, right? And every time before I attack with my frigates, I Motitas attack with my scouts, right? Taking out with plus 10%, take out as many scouts as I can, hit with my frigates. They shouldn't have any scouts or recons left because my Motitas attack. And then it's either frigates versus frigates or frigates versus destroyers or corvettes, which I win.
There's just one problem you've got.
Sure.
A player going recons and patrols. Because if you Motitas with your scouts against his recons, those recons will have superior firepower numbers because, well, he just produces a lot more per hour. Therefore, you have the problem of you losing actually more scouts despite your 10% firepower boost. This basically means that you lose your bombing capabilities because your frigate fleet that comes afterwards, even if it weren't beaten, has very low bombing capacities. Like, you need 4.7 hours of frigate queue to get the bombing required to bomb away a station. That's kind of a lot in a 4-hour game. 4.7 hours of queue.
Yeah, that's actually pretty crazy.
It's also 6 full fleets of frigates.
Let me go to. There's a cool graph of, I think, the numbers you're kind of getting into here.
Right at the bottom,
yeah,
I think.
The very last one. Yeah, so this is going to be how much they all cost and how much they all do.
Yeah. So building recons is very expensive resource-wise. Like, I don't think those resource numbers are actually accurate. Those 2466. Because I ran the numbers myself, and I'm pretty sure they're wrong on metal per hour, or it's it's just like 24.000. It's like with 3 zeros added to the end. So that's just but like recons with a I've got a Google spreadsheet for this.
So the big thing I'm pulling away from this, like, this is, so I mean, you think the meta's going to evolve into everyone just has 2 types of ships they primarily focus on, one heavy type and one normal type?
Except for Night Corps.
They just build industrials, or?
No, Night Corps will need. I think Night Corps will need roughly 3 industrial fleets, because every industrial fleet will be able to have 100 industrials, which can radiate 3 range, and I think taking away like maximum of 41 points it is with 3 range, if you have an ever living lair in there, is already a lot. Like 41 points. Try to beat that. So Night Corps will have 3 industrial fleets, roughly. You can do with 4, you can possibly do with 2, but 3 is a minimum. And therefore, Night Corps needs defense. He spends like 2 hours on building his industrials. 2 Q hours, of course. So that means that he is behind on defense. Therefore, all his fleets he builds are just for defense. His sowing radiation will be an attack, but his defense will be his fleets. So that's what he will build, possibly 3 types for, to be able to defend against everything.
Yeah, we got a compliment from Papa Banner here. He said, "Damn, this guy's gonna kick ass." So, yeah, Tris has been doing, I mean, just whiteboards worth of math. Like he was sending me some pictures.
Publish. I can actually send. Is it possible to send a picture in Twitch there? Let me just see.
I don't think so, but if you throw it in there, if you throw it into Twitch, I'll pull it up on the screen. But yeah, he's been running a lot of numbers. Yeah, they want to see the links. But yeah, this is why I'm really glad you're part of this stream, because this is kind of the questions I want to ask.
I got a tip from someone saying like, "Hey, there's a stream about Deadzone while you're explaining everything here, so move there."
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get you a picture of this.
Yeah, you throw them in there real quick. I'm gonna go grab some beers because Stifler just arrived and he's already making me drink them, and I'm out of the first one. Okay, guys.
Yeah, I think I agree that most people are going to go for 2 types. I'm not sure if I follow your logic on Night Core or not, just because I have a lot of faith in the defensive capabilities of missile batteries. And so I'm not sure if it's worth it to go all 3 for a defensive build. Like, you could just sort of max patrol ships and corvettes. Those are the ones that give you the best just combat stats overall. Or, I mean, heavy equivalents, maybe, but...
Yeah, Night Corps can go for 3 types. Like every other, 3 types is the only kind of, combination that can only be used in a defense situation. And Night Corps is the only faction that will only focus on defense with its ships. So Night Corps is, the one that can go for 3 types, but it's not a must.
Yeah.
It's not a must. The main advantage of 3 types is that you've never got a terrible disadvantage. You've also never got a real advantage.
It means that you always have a slight disadvantage, though.
Yeah, okay, you're always predictable, and I've actually I've just sent a picture to Feca, but I guess you can't see that yet. I'll send it to Discord channel too, where you can see it. I'll send it in the let me just see Fab Discord in the pick dump. Let me see where that pick dump is.
Yeah, I don't know if they answered them. It looks like Colbert did. Radiation does not disable outposts, but it does affect the harvest, I believe, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'll send it in the community.
Yeah, that's correct.
A picture of my whiteboard. This was like...
Oh my gosh.
Wait, what?
I can actually make sense of that. It's in the community chat, but I've also sent it to you in PMs. Okay.
Well, you just throw it in, here.
This is spectacular.
No, this is like,
I'm glad you own a whiteboard.
I've also put this in spreadsheet form. I've also made a combat calculator, actually. More like a deck.
Of course you have.
Because I compared like defensive many different decks of ship production. So like in FP per minute, HP per minute, and bombing per minute, combined with card values and organization boosts. And what you see is like corvettes and destroyers can beat recons and scouts. Frigates and patrols can beat destroyers and corvettes, but recons and scouts cannot beat frigates and patrols. Like, they can, but it's like, nah, not very good.
The class bonus just isn't enough to make up for the different prime stats?
The point is, frigates are based on firepower and hit points, and recons are just based on firepower and bombing. Hit points and bombing. Therefore, it has barely got any firepower. You might even be able to see the numbers, but I'll get my own spreadsheet up there. Well, not up there, but I'll read the numbers there. Like if you have no time reduction on your ships, and we remove all the boosts. So let's remove all the boosts. Okay, right now we've got... Okay, FP per minute. Corvette produces 2k. Patrols produce 1.333, etc. k. And scouts produce 923k per minute. Not 923, just 923 firepower per minute. And destroyers are like 5,000 firepower per minute. Frigates 3.3k of firepower per minute, and recons like 2.3k of firepower per minute, which is extremely low. 2.3k of firepower per minute.
Yeah, are you doing this somewhere, or are you like live? Or...
Yeah, I can. I've got. Let me see. Should I turn on my screen share on Discord?
Yeah, do it on Discord. I'll pull the Discord up on so everybody can see the exact math you're doing.
Okay, I'll zoom out a little bit.
Okay, here we go, guys.
Okay.
Here's the goods.
Let me just see if do I have to zoom in a little more?
I mean, as long as you give us the rough idea, we can move
Okay.
ahead.
Here we basically got ship type, its weaknesses, base time, real time it takes. So like we have any reductions, the base FP, and the FP after the organization boost. Now we've got, here is the total amount of resources it takes per hour, I think. Yeah, like you can see that it becomes rapidly increasing on resource cost, but also that recons are like very expensive ships. And that's actually very weird, because in sovereign space you've got the balance that destroyers are like many FP per minute, but a little bit more expensive, while the patrol ships or the frigates are the more resource per firepower kind of ships. You choose them if you want efficiency, while destroyers are the fast FP. So in this game mode, that's out of balance.
Even per time, if you're saying they're this much, I mean, if I just built scouts, I'm still going to compete fairly well against someone that's building recons, right? Like, just because you said they're mostly hit points in bombing. So it's like if I Motita strike a bunch of recons with my scouts, and then I follow up with frigates, they're already not doing too well versus the frigates anyways. So as long as I weaken enough, I still think scouts frigates is the best less Apaches combo.
Well, the point is your scouts versus my frigates is not going to do anything actually, because you produce like 200 and
Yeah, but I'm OT striking, right? Like, oh man, visions. Holy
Let's
fuck.
see if I can put in. Okay, so Snuggums.
Holy fuck, dude.
Okay, so let's put it in the deck calculator. I'm sorry. So the player 1, you choose to go for scouts. Let's just commit 0.3 to that and 70% to our destroyers. Oh, sorry, frigates, you said. And we've got another player going for patrol ships. No, we're not going for patrol ships. I'm going for 0.7 on recons. And I have patrol ships, I thought. Okay. Oh, wait, I haven't got a Motitis calculator. But, like, that's a work in progress. Okay, so I can actually use these values to calculate it manually live.
Yeah,
so okay.
They're not going to be able to see anything for like another like minute because you just donated so many cheers. It's like, okay, there it is, finally. Okay, now you're good. Sorry. Thanks again, no Visions. That's fucking crazy.
I need a few minutes. I need a few minutes for this, probably.
Okay, I can talk to
live calculating these.
You're good. Yeah, so that's like the big thing. Like, honestly, Motis is a lot stronger than like I kind of originally thought that, because like with the way these three work, and I'm gonna pull up the spreadsheet, just tell me when to come back. Because with it, like these being better than those, like anytime you what is it, Matisses, whatever, you guys kind of understand what I'm going
Matitas,
for.
yes.
Matitas, with like the one before, like the light ship before, and then the heavy ship after. Like light ship spam Matisses, like the whatever is going to be strong to whatever you are. As long as you do it like in that order, you're in good shape. Mojitos, yeah, mojitos. If you do a mojito strike,
Really, it's just Motitas.
yeah, mojitos. But that's strong, man. Like this is gonna be really strong. Like I picked Less Apaches solely for the lulls and the RP value of the fact that he said we're gonna thanks Panda. For the fact that Snigum says we get to like potentially if we win to create the founder of Less Apaches. So I was like, screw it. I'm gonna do plot armor. I'm gonna act like I'm the founder of Less Apaches, and that will carry me to victory. So that's kind of my thing. And these are the spawn points I was talking about earlier, guys. So these yellows are the starting areas. You can literally just spawn here in the middle. Like just these are the yellow spawn areas. So like if you spawn out here, like I mean if you get in this inner ring, I think that's gonna be the best kind of zone. Outside you might get a little like, you know, not a lot of space to move, but if you spawn here, man, you're screwed. It's against that bit. But yeah, this map specifically, and map is tight, and then XO even went out of his way to be like, yeah, you get real cozy. And I think somebody went out and did the math, and like once everyone has like 3 stations, the whole fucking thing is gonna be covered. So
yeah, I mean those hexes there are they're 5 hex radius. So essentially, you fit like one station in each.
Wow, that's really good information too. Five hexes is each of those 5 hexes wide.
5 hex radius, so like 11 hexes wide total.
Yeah. Hi, J Beer. Who I now can hear. Becca, my guy. Wait, let me get some congrats drinking. Oh my god. Yeah, here you go. Wow. This is what everybody's been waiting for. Yeah, I mean, Visions just did a huge fucking donation, so I'll drink, man. That was crazy. You're wild, dude.
There's just been like 10 hydrate beers.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna let them like all go, and I'll just do them because it's like if I sit there, I'll be like I'll break my neck going up and down looking. Drink off of the thing. If you guys haven't followed, I'll be doing this also I'm gonna stream it live. I said, you know what, screw it.
That's so pretty.
We'll do it there too. Thanks so much for the follow. But we'll be doing this live. You guys will go through with me if you're not gonna be playing yourself. Even then, I'm sure most of you guys will just watch to fucking troll me. But that's what it is. When are we getting Feca wife drink?
What are you saying, Feca? That we're just going to watch to troll you? I'd never do that to stream snipe you.
Oh yeah, right. That's what dude. That's the only problem I have with Night Corps, dude. I'm like, dude, streamers are gonna get so screwed by Night Corps. Dude.
Yeah.
Like, you're winning. Like last second, everyone on the map, Night Corps spam you.
This is why we are blowing up every Night Corps player on the map.
Yeah.
Like I think we can get enough of a bandwagon.
Yeah, we might, dude. Like. I'm also like whoever mentioned earlier about you know, in-game politics. Like it's gonna be very much a thing. You're gonna find your top 4 that you want to work with, and be like, yo, us 5 are gonna finish this. You know, we're gonna make this happen, and we try to band together. And I'm sure there's gonna be like 5 groups of that once the game hits. I'm definitely not gonna do anything before. I'm gonna make it very artificial. You guys will see me doing it on stream, talking politics and trying to get people to like bring me in with them so we can stream the finals. But yeah, that's gonna be. I'm specifically finding a group.
You're in the finals?
No. This is for the original one. I think there's maybe a 1% chance I make it to the final streaming. I do not have high hopes. But all right, let me. I'm gonna drink. Do you got your spreadsheet? Fixed?
I've done the calculations on your Motitas.
Okay, let me pull it up. Real
lose
quick.
40% of your scouts
To an equal amount of recons or whatever.
To 5% of my and I'll lose 5% of my recons, but let's just calculate this to Q time. So this is like, you lose 0.3. That's like 11% of your Q time, while I lose See, I lose 3% of my queue time. You lose 12% of your queue time.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
yeah, that's a loss.
I have a counter argument to your current strategies and theory crafting, right?
Of course,
If you
Love it.
if you look at all of the resource costs and the time costs, right? And from what I saw of Snookums' stream, it's going to come down to resources more than
time.
time. Yeah.
Really?
So
Yeah.
I'm thinking because of that, it really just comes into like, can you like maybe mass doing heavy ship assembly so that all your resources are turning into heavy ships because they're more resource efficient.
Yeah, this is, by the way, the table of rest per hour from corvettes, patrols, scouts, destroyers, frigates, and recons in, well, that order. So, well, you can actually... Oh, wait, this is, by the way, calculated in boost. Like, currently, I've got improved scouts. This is something very important to realize. There is a minimum amount of production time for each ship.
Right.
So, like, you need at least 2% for each ship to produce. So if you
I mean-
have, for example, improved corvettes, corvettes normally take 3 seconds. So each organization of improved corvettes takes like 0.3 seconds of that 10%. So at 3 organizations, you got 2.1. But at 4, you'll go below the 2 seconds, so you stay at 2 seconds.
This is such a good fucking spreadsheet. This is crazy. Like, yeah, this is amazing.
It's not actually finished because the deck calculator is not like entirely finished, because first I thought it would be 3 rounds of combat, just 1. And well, I kind of ruined this calculation of fleet boost because I had to quickly change it. But yeah, it's kind of a good spreadsheet. I had
That's
to make
amazing,
it with
dude.
like all the data I had. I watched almost every stream like 3 times at least.
Jesus. Yeah,
But
dude. What server are you spawning again? Just stay away. I'm just gonna wait till I see you drop, and then just drop in a different server. Like, Jesus Christ.
Someone's
dude.
intending to choose the name for less Apaches.
Oh my god.
And it's not going to be Chief Feca.
It
It might just be a mocking name, though.
Oh god.
I'm gonna win. I'm gonna get to put Angus McFritos in the Gatos Fritos thing. A guy with wellies,
Well,
kilt, and a claymore. That's my hope.
do you get to do stuff like that? I thought it was just thanks so much, Panda. But I thought as far as the winners, they just get okay, I'm pulling it up. It's a prize naming the founder of Los Apaches, and then contribute an idea to faction image for Gatos Fritos. So do you get to do all that stuff though? Just like faction image?
I mean, I think so. Let me check if I'm getting it here, because it was sort of like Snookums did specify it's just like an idea, you know, thematic restrictions apply, right?
Yeah, it says here.
But as far as I understand, they're going to be trying to get your idea in. They'll be like, that doesn't work. Would this similar thing work? So like, yeah. I want Angus McFritos.
Yeah, and like even if I somehow trip and fell into winning this thing, I wouldn't
I'm not
actually
going
be
to
Chief
allow that.
Feca because it's not really like I would go with something more fun, but Chief Feca was just like a more relatable, fun RP element. If anyone's seen the all the posts going on, you guys got to make sure you're hitting up Deadzone chat because it's saucy, dude. Okay, we'll go over now back to the.
I'm now actually doing the rest of the combat. So we did the first Motitas attack from, well, your frigates and scouts. And now I'm going to see how the rest of your attack, well, comes to an end.
Well, I'm going to do a Motitas attack with just the scouts, and then I'm doing a normal frigate attack right afterwards.
Okay, so your scouts will not be in the combat.
Oh, thanks so much again, Panda. You're what? Yeah, so it's gonna be scouts are gonna be separate. So I'm gonna do like a 1 second before, right? So instead of sabotaging before, because I think that's gonna be huge, like you said, right? Like you sabotage before, so you get a poor man's Motitas. I'm going to use the Rich Man's Motitas, actual Motitas. So I'm going to Motitas right before, 1 second afterwards, hit with Frigs. Now, there shouldn't be too much recon left. And then any destroyers, Corvettes, I'm getting 50% bonus on. And any Frigs I just match evenly with. And hopefully
Do you realize that I lose just 5% of my recons to your Motitas?
I have to attack regardless. Like, if I'm going to attack, right? Like, if you have to do an attack, what's a more optimal way to attack?
Choose another deck layout. I would personally go for, instead of frigates scouts, I'd go for recons and patrols. Like, switch the heavy and the light types.
But you're saying they're just not as effective. Recons aren't nearly as effective, right?
No, but like, if you fight with recons against frigates, you've got one big advantage. Frigates might not, recons might not kill frigates, but frigates don't kill recons. So they both survive. But recons deal bombing.
But recons get murked by Decies and Corvettes, and I feel like a large majority of people will be using frigates, or will be using Corvettes and destroyers.
If you
Yeah, but
were
how will your scouts survive then?
Motitas. Scouts are, like, once again, that's just Motitas. I don't care about them, like, not surviving, but, like, if my heavy unit option is the one that's getting, like, I don't care at all about the scouts. The scouts are just there to get Motitas death, like, just spam to get away from things. And to also help defend, like, against sabotage.
Yeah, I guess that would work, but there's one defense I think there is, which would be good against your frigate and scout combination. That might just be a frigate and corvette combination with less Apaches. I
So-
would Motitas your frigates.
No matter what, I think I have to run scouts or recons. Like, you just have to avoid sabotage. Like, or else you're just going to be screwed. If you don't build one of those two, you're a free sabotage. Like, everything you do, all your outposts will just constantly be taken offline. And it's just too much of a pain.
Well, or you'd have to snipe his returning sabotage fleets.
But not if, I mean, you'd have to snipe his returning sabotage fleets with a non-Motitas attack, because it had to be something different, and then you'd have to hope he doesn't have any other actual defenses. Like,
Yeah, or you'd have to Motitas those actual defenses. Like, you've got frigates and corvettes. Now you've got to Motitas with your frigates first to make sure he doesn't have any patrols or frigates. And now you can attack with your corvettes against his scouts or scouts and corvettes.
but it's still a counter move, right? Whereas, like, just having the defense there in the first place could just screw him. We're set in 4 minutes. Yeah, let me go check my queues real quick. Okay, we'll go through the rest of the slides. Let's pull up one of the slides. And we'll just kind of start from the beginning, and then you guys just kind of add any kind of commentary you want. So I'll pull up the slide, I'll read what's on the slide, and then I want to hear you guys' opinions on it, because you guys have clearly thought about this a lot more. I had thought about it a decent amount. And then I ran into you guys, and you guys have been killing it. I don't think there's anything crazy about spies. It's saying spying in DZ is generally a lot more powerful because of how buildings give empire-wide bonuses. But I don't know if that's necessarily true, because there's not really anything different. You start with 20, you generate 4 per hour. Manage your spies carefully. So I don't know. I don't think there's a huge difference, but what do you guys think about that? I'll drink a few more beers for Soulmate, but I think I was close to 30.
I mean, I think that they're important. Like, they were important in Sovereign Space, and
Right.
they're still important here. And that's basically it. The probe is actually a nice addition, honestly. It's not quite enough. As you said before, people are still going to need scouts and recon, so, like, it doesn't actually do that much to affect strategies at all. But, I mean, my main thought on spies has actually honestly been make sure I have 6 spies. Like, I'm going to spy all of my neighbors at 24 minutes so that I see every station build movement.
Right. Well, yeah, so that's a good point to bring up. Just sorry, you go right at second. But yeah, it now drops probes, which is great.
I would spy at 20 minutes because I've seen in the stream, for example, that Snuggums already built his station at 20 minutes of, after 20 minutes, which is, what he said, would be fast. But, like, Orbs was even faster, so I'd not go later than 20 minutes. And your probe lasts for 30 minutes in total anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the reason that they're saying spies are better, Fluffy Gong, is because the entire strategy is very rock paper scissors. If you spy someone, you can see whether they've built all the rock buildings, all the scissors buildings, or all the paper buildings.
Yeah, and we'll get more into that too. But I think it's definitely going to be it's like rock paper scissors, but you get two. You get two of the three, right? It's not just rock paper scissors anymore. It's like, okay, I got scissors rock. What do you got? I got paper scissors. Like, okay, now coordinate how you're gonna attack that way. So it's kind of interesting because, like we were mentioning earlier, I think the meta is definitely going to go heavy light ship in one direction, heavy ship in the other direction. It's worth noting as well that outposts are no longer tied to what buildings you're building, so you could theoretically build industrial buildings on every single station and build heavy ship assemblies.
Honestly, that's what I try to do half of the time in Sovereign Space, and I'm so looking forward to full industrial buildings heavy ship assembly.
Yeah. I am too, honestly. But also, there's the big thing where everyone's going to deconstruct all their buildings and everyone's going to put up fortresses last second. That's going to be the other meta. That's going to be interesting. So we'll kind of get to that too.
Or just unclaim hexes to just hide your amount of hexes claimed.
I hope that they just disable unclaiming hexes, because I don't think that's too hard to do.
Right. That'll be interesting as well, actually. I mean, you still have to... No, yeah, because you harvest unclaimed hexes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if that's the thing, you'll be seeing me do it on stream. I mean, why not? I mean, I know everyone's going to be watching and knowing how many hexes I have, but, like, why not, right?
Here's a wee
Calculation
detail.
time.
Here's a wee detail if you're messing with the leaderboards with unclaiming hexes. I think this applies for leaderboards as well. I only know for sure that it applies to the achievements, but your hexes claimed number doesn't update until you build a fortress, level up a station, something like that.
Yeah, that must have been what it was, because I was dropping claim trying to help Cult of Nihilus in Server 1 get to third place for territory, and it wasn't updating. So I just thought it just took the maximum, but I guess you actually have to do something. So like if you drop claim, it doesn't actually change until you do something else. So that'll be interesting. What we got here? Beers, Beats, Battlestar Galactica. Those are your 3 station names? Yeah, I know from
Maybe it's a replacement for rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, yeah, right? Yeah, that's another good one. All right. So we'll go, that's spies. I think the big thing taken out is it's going to drop probes now. Yeah, instead of rock, paper, scissors, he called it. Yeah, I know I said from the office, but yeah, from that. Open caches. I just opened up all my caches. Yeah, see, I got none left. All right, special hexes. So Dead Zone has special hexes. This is going to be huge. We'll go through all the pictures in a second. But basically, 2 more spies generate per hour. We just kind of talked about spies. Maybe it might be worth it. I don't think I'll be loving that. Drone cache, 2 more augmentation points per generated per hour. If you're Borts, maybe that's a little bit more beneficial. It'll be okay if it's hanging around. Debris credits per hour. This is like 3K
That's
credits
amazing.
per hour.
My
I
second
like
version
that.
is getting that boy.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There's a
Hopefully,
lot of debris ones as well, like tons of debris hexes all over the place.
yeah. So this is gonna
Yeah, but
be
there-
big.
I've got a question. Like, do any of you know, like, what they say is that if you radiate someone, it drops player-made debris. This is to see the difference between player-made radiation and not radiation. But if you clear it, does that still leave the debris?
You don't harvest debris for credits in those types of debris.
Okay.
Will there be a spy cap? So you need to dump a spy at the beginning, so you start regen.
Yeah.
There's probably a cap. The reason they said 20, they probably just start you with full. I'm assuming.
Yeah, they set you at full. You start at 20, Night Corps at 25. But like, there's a small thing, because if you were to spy immediately, you'd get a full cap after 15 minutes again. But that's like not what you want, because you want to spy around roughly, well, for example, if you want to spy around 20 minutes, you will use your spy at that moment, so you can delay it to then, or at 10 and at 20.
Right. Honestly, like spying really early on, like won't be bad either. Like I'm because like more than likely, once again, you guys will see my strategy. I don't mind talking about it a little bit more. But like as far as light ships, I'm still more in the boat of I want to do scouts for my light ship. I may do Pats if Tris convinces me otherwise. But I'll be building those right off the bat, right? And I think specifically scouts I want to build right off the bat because once again they're called utility for a reason. I think they're just huge for defending my outposts. And sabotaging other people's outposts. If you see me building those immediately, and then you start building corvettes because of that, and you come smash my scouts, that's the thing. So using them, I think would be helpful. Using them right at the very beginning to make sure you get the regeneration, I don't think is that big of a deal.
I mean, do it at like minute 5.
Yeah.
That way you have max spies when you know you're going to spy people for their station builds. And, people have had 5 minutes to build their first light ships.
Right, exactly. Concealed docking platform +1 Empire fleet. They said you're not going to have too many Empire fleets, right? And tasks aren't really a thing.
Yeah, it's 10. You start with 10, you have 10 until you get the concealed docking platform.
So you're going to need this. This is what they're talking about you not having many indie fleets. Like, you're only have 10 the whole game.
Yeah,
So
that's amazing. I think I'm going for that one, and just if I were to have like heavies and lights, I'd go like just an example, 6 recons, 4 patrol ship fleets, like that kind of combination, and then have another industrial fleet.
I completely disagree with you both about how good this one is. I don't know whether you want me to explain that now or whether you want to get through all of them.
Go ahead now. No, because
right.
while we're at it, yeah.
Here's the detail that matters. If you're at 11 out of 10 Empire fleets, none of your fleets can fly. Well, I don't think they get labor penalties, but they can't move. You have to disband a fleet, right?
Okay.
And you will go back down to 10 if you lose claim on the station. And so I just feel like this is too risky. I feel like as soon as you have this, a Night Corps player is going to throw radiation at it every now and then.
Huh. Well, so when you lose this hex, I thought he mentioned something about radiation not affecting these particular hexes. Maybe if you lose them in a different way. But does it actually affect this?
It should.
So.
Yeah, he recently also said like how you could make just one radiation do much more if you take out an ever-living layer. That's something we'll come to later, I guess, the ever-living layer.
Yeah, we'll get to that in 1 second. Yeah, please won't be the bottleneck. Just guessing at this rate. Yeah, that's actually a pretty interesting thing. If you want to screw over your enemies, drop some rad on.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, that definitely a bold note here. We should get that. Abandoned sector target plus 20 movements for all fleets. Now, my immediate reaction was like, oh yeah, 20 speed, but you're getting plus 100 speed, right? Like it's per hour.
Think of it like a +2. But I'd be quite happy with a +2 movement speed on everything. Like there are definitely times in Starborne where you take a +2 movement speed to all fleets as one of your policies, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the best policy for me to have in this moment.
Yeah, I'm just reading Trident's things here in chat. Depending on how many credit, you won't get too many of these without conflict, and that's the big thing about things like ever-living observer center. I'm like, oh, this isn't that great, but like, since it's not that great, and if it's close to me, I might not have people dropping rad on it, right? Whereas if I have concealed docking platform, like, I mean, even as a note here, like, this is going to be getting rad dumped all day by Night Corps. So once again, while we got all banned up against Night Corps, if you see anyone spotted as it, go get them.
I think that's actually like just a thing that becomes true about all strategizing for Deadzone is the strategy that is most likely to make you win isn't necessarily the most optimized strategy. Like if you've ever played Coup in particular, it's a sort of bluffing game, but in Coup it's just very consistent. Whoever gets strongest first dies. And so the way you win games like this, the way you win the free-for-alls is you stay medium strength until the end, and then you become the strongest right at the end when it matters.
Yeah, I think that's going to be absolutely huge in this game. I mean, I think it's without a doubt. how we're gonna have to play this game.
I think there's this very interesting Night Corps strategy for that, actually. Because every Night Corps player will face some issues. For example, being burned at the stake when they are exposed as a witch or sorry, a Night Corp.
Yes.
They're basically having a gigantic target on their back. So you can play Secret Night Corps. Like, try to hide it. Try to keep your indies in the air. Try to make sure nobody sees it.
Make sure you're
And
using
on
that stealth. They give you plus 50 extra.
Exactly. Stealth everything. Make sure, possibly even don't do anything with your ability for like 3 hours. To then, at the end, strike.
It's
Strike
a witch
with
hunt.
3 or 4 full industrial fleets, taking out maximum of something like 41 claims. Like, that's 31 of 3 range and the ever-living lair. So that's a lot.
I think someone might do that. Like, because I look at it, and I would have considered Nightcore, except for the fact that it's a witch hunt, and also I started the witch hunt. But it's also definitely possible that, like, you can, like, because you really have to commit to it if you do. You just don't sow radiation until the end, because all it takes is one visible sow radiation movement, and everyone knows you're Nightcore.
Yeah.
But I reckon someone will do it.
So, Trident, I kind of like the opposite. You're saying, like, you wish they would make it obvious for every faction. I like that you can kind of hide it, you know? Like, if you're playing Night Corps, like, I think that's a valid strategy. Hide that shit. Don't tell anyone. You are going to get witch hunt. Like, we are actively, like, in the name of Triss, we are hunting you, right? I'm going to send a PM. In the name of Triss, you're being you're accused of being a witch. Like, you will be burned at the stake. Prove otherwise.
Perfect. Feca, if you're playing if you're playing less Apaches, you can pick a French meme basically saying, or a French GIF basically saying "at the stake." I'll link it to you.
Yeah.
I saw that GIF.
That'd be good. Like, and once again, like Trident saying he has his pitchfork, just making discoverable spying. I still like it being hidden. Like, I like to watch it. I've really enjoyed, like, literally, like, trying to come up with, like, in sovereign space where we're constantly being like, well, oh my god, we're about to get sabotaged. Is this going to be a Tianchao sabotage, right? Like, we don't know. We're going back through records and trying to see, like, different kinds of things. So, I mean, that kind of stuff's fun.
It only takes one person to see the Nightcore and say on chat, this person is confirmed Nightcore.
That's going to be all chat is. That's going to be all chat is. It's just giant witch hunt.
Chat's going to be memes and witch hunts, and then maybe right at the end there'll be, like, war banter like you get in political channel, but most of it's just going to be memes and witch hunts. People could lie. And you know who else I'm going to blow up as well as Nightcore? I'm going to blow up people who lie about Nightcore. Not as high a priority, but
yeah.
I might just call you a Nightcore.
Right, exactly. That's how it's gonna go. Fall of Terrain. Like, this is exactly what I was thinking of. Actually, the Monty Python witch trial, like, random ass shit, like, whatever. Like, so yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's genuinely gonna be a fun thing to hunt them down. As long as everyone gets hunted down. Now, I am kind of afraid of, like, oh, Feca's the only one trying to hunt us down. Let's all go, you know, Night Corps bomb him. Because, like, he's the only guy standing up to us.
That's why we need to push it so hard constantly, Feca.
Yeah.
All we need is to change the perception into, oh yes, everyone gangs up on Nightcore, then it will be true.
Yeah. So we're all in this together. Everyone on stream right now. I'll probably post this. I'll probably do a big clip of this all on YouTube and, like, post, like, our talk with Tristanvds and Roedhip, if you guys don't care, and just be like, this is what we went through. But everyone that's watching this either on Twitch, on YouTube, hunt the Night Corps, help us with it, make us not be painted, and help us all. One server with all Night Corps and Feca. yeah, stay away from that, dude. That's my worst nightmare. Alright, so we only got like 15 minutes left, so I'm gonna try to, like, you know, fly through these last ones. Just definitely add anything if you guys really think it's important. I know you guys wanted to say already, Ever-Living Lair will probably be one we sit on for a second. But 10 victory points. This is basically 11 claim, because you're claiming that hex, and then it's also 10 more points. And victory points are exactly synonymous with.
You should see it in a
claim
perspective,
taxes.
though. There is a tier 4 building that gives you 30 victory points.
Right, it's a building now, not the org, where you're getting plus
Yeah.
1 claim radius. And,
Yeah.
and we'll get to that as well. That's up actually next. And we'll
Yeah.
definitely hit through those.
I look at Everliving Walair in a very similar way. Like, it's just not a big enough bonus for me to be too excited about it. Like, I'm not going to send a station far away to get Everliving Lair.
Right.
I'm just going to be happy if it happens to be in my space.
But it's also enough a Night Corps player will bomb it, right? I mean, that's like
Yeah.
so it's just enough. It's not too much where like they have to do it or we all need to go get that but I mean, it's enough to make me want to get it if it's nearby, and it's enough to if it's nearby and I don't have it and I'm Night Corps, I'm gonna bomb it, right? So,
I think I like it enough to shift over where I'd build a station by like 1 hex. If I need to shift a station by 2 hexes to get this, I'm not sure I care enough.
it's a big target too, and that's why I don't know if I'll keep it. Now the next two, the firepower for all fleets, the hit points for all fleet. I like these bonuses. I don't think they're
Yeah.
enough to be a target for grabbing them, but by grabbing them, it's huge.
No, I think they're the best. I think these two
Yeah.
are the best. And the class bonus. I'd put the class bonus in too. I think these 3 are
Sure.
the best special hexes on the map.
They
Other
also
than
help
debris.
you defend those hexes, right? Like that's another big point, right? Like every time you grab them, you're gonna have a really hard time getting me off of it because I have these bonuses.
Yeah. And, you know, you do run into the problem of, like, on the one hand, I'd say, oh, you just make yourself stronger. If you're the strongest, you win. I'm remembering how much that isn't the case, and because these are so obviously a bonus, like, it's just pure strength you're getting from them. They might be some of the ones that are the biggest targets. Like, if you see that someone has 3 abandoned motherships, there
Well-
might be a witch hunt against them.
Well, I see, like, from our point of view, having read these, right, and knowing all the stuff. Now, this is my thing. It might even backfire for people with Ever-Living Lair. Like you're saying, if you've read it all, you realize it's not that big of a deal. However, you're going to see 10 victory points up there on the screen, and you're going to be like, that guy's in the lead, let's get him, right? And they might leave these ones alone, but these are absolutely the best. I mean, without a doubt.
Yeah.
My original thing is, I don't know if people will realize they're the best, right? Where it's like, we talked about this can get sabotaged, because you can screw people over, so this is going to be great to sabotage them. Ever-Living Lair is a huge target. These 3 are fantastic.
You know which one I'm actually missing in this list, which should be there? I think they should have a plus 10% bombing for all fleets, because it's really hard to bomb out buildings. Like, they've currently got a new mechanic that's like damaged buildings, so you can half bomb out a building. That's
Yeah.
very interesting. But, like, it's still very difficult to bomb out a station because it's so fast at rebuilding.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
really
an
got a
amazing
one-shot.
point.
Fall of Tyrants made a really good point that, like, Ever-Living Lairs do work well for that last second bonus claim. That
Yes.
actually is making me reconsider their value.
That's an amazing point, Fall of Tyran. Like, yeah, late game, because like you're saying, I was already gonna late games Fortress spam, right? Every one of my stations, I'm not building a third, or I'm building it, but I'm taking them all down, my tier 3 outposts, and we're going Fortresses. I mean, everyone's gonna do it. But to have it right outside your reach, right? You said earlier, you're like, I might move 1 hex over. Maybe don't move 1 hex over, but instead, stay 1 hex away and then pop the fortress on it. That's an 11 points plus whatever else you're getting from the fortress.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same at the moment. Actually, you want these just outside your claim.
Yeah, that's actually that's a really big shot. Putting them right outside intentionally. Yeah, I like that a lot.
You do have a risk. I mean, I can build my station next to you, outclaim.
If you build next to me,
Right.
that
You're
means I
going
have
to
one-
die.
It's an easier station to
Yes.
bomb. Like, I'm gonna be bombing out stations, right? As much as I can. I want to, if I can, bomb out someone's second station when it's low level, then take down their capital over the next 15 minutes, right? If you build right next to me, it just becomes easier.
Yeah, you're going down. That's a whole different ordeal. Sure, you can come try to outclaim me, but unless it's in the last second, like you said, it's a crappy station regardless. So I think we're good on that. I think we're good on these. We've talked about these. We're technically down to 8 minutes left, but I want to get to at least most of these anyways. Like we talked about the buildings, no EUBs. All of them only have one level. Production slots fit anywhere. You can do 3 metal. They say triple gas here. No unique buildings, no EUBs are the same, right? No supplied bonuses. Everything affects your whole empire. That's why they said spying's a little bit better, so you can see what the empire is doing. Building names explicitly state their function to reduce learning curve. I think that's going to be important for all of us picking it up on stream. For each tier, there are 2 buildings, and you guys can see here. Organizations require no buildings to be built, just station level. And that's outposts as well. They say that specifically.
I think there's an outpost
outposts.
page somewhere.
Okay. But regardless, I think that's the same thing as organizations, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Total build time for all buildings and organizations about 30 minutes. There's no build Rs, by the way, if you guys caught that on the first screen. Level 2 requires, whatever. We'll go through that. IP refund time is 15 minutes if you lose the station. Is there self-destruct? Has anyone heard about that?
I think it was kind of unclear whether there's self-destruct or not. Like, I'm not sure if Snookums is sure.
Yeah, right. Then updated building hit points. I don't think I have too many comments on this. If you guys do, but we'll probably just scroll on past it. Oh shoot, wrong one.
Yeah, the main thing with buildings is the actual buildings you can build.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of these next screens. Are there any particular ones that really stand out to you guys? This is the organizations.
Well, in organizations, it's really what you're going to build. Like for, if you're going corvettes, you're going for improved corvettes. But like, that's totally your choice. And I think it's going to be very important. Like if you're going recons, you'll want the hit points and bombing tier 4 output, tier 4 organizations. But if you're going frigates or destroyers, you might just as well go for the firepower and hit points.
With similar to what Tris has said, it really just comes down to build the orgs based on what ships you're building, and that's a very simple decision once you know what ships you're building.
Yeah, and that's just basically what the orgs are, right? And they even say, improve corvettes, improve frigates. That's just what they are. And that's kind of what we were talking about too, where you're gonna be specializing in one type of light ship, one type of heavy ship, and this just kind of reinforces that. This kind of tier 3 is a little weird for me because it's gonna kind of encourage you to do the same thing. I think some people might fall for that trap. Where I can imagine, especially corvettes are a popular ship, you're going to go improve destroyers, improve corvettes, and class bonus corvettes and destroyers, and you're going to get wrecked by someone that's going any kind of pats,
Well, so, I mean, that's the thing, is that you're probably going to want to choose different specialties between the light and heavy.
Yes.
In general, if I were to pick a heavy, I'd pick the light that's super effective against my heavy counter.
Yes.
Because then if they're attacking you, you're at least dealing extra damage with your lights.
Yep, that was the big, that was like, we hammered the shit out of that earlier, but that's kind of like where I'm going to go back to it for a second, just in case other people were doing it. Like, because that's a fantastic point, because you're going in, you're going to get 50% bonus. It's crazy. And that's where I was kind of talking about doing scouts here and doing frigates here.
50% is crazy. Well, then you haven't seen it at maximum level. If you were to build 5 stations, you can get, for example, you're doing something crazy. You're just building frigates or something and patrols. So you're going for improved patrols and improved frigates and the improved class bonus. That means you've got 75% from the class bonus. You've got 50% from each of the improved lights and frigates. So that means in total you have 175 increase, which means a 325% class bonus.
Do you think it will be possible? Let's say you had a bit of a mixture of fleets. We're not going to specify what, but something that's not following the same strategies we're doing. Do you reckon you could ever, deconstruct and rebuild your tier 3 orgs so that you always counter anyone? Like, get the class bonus on their counter up really high, attack them, once they're dead, bring your fleets back, deconstruct, build up a different class bonus for the
Without
next.
buildars, I don't know if you could. I don't know if
Well,
it's
I
fast
think
enough.
time is not the issue. I mean, it's like how many minutes? It's not even a minute to deconstruct, I think, or maybe like
Yeah,
2 minutes.
it might only be a couple minutes to tear down and replace your tier 3
I
orc.
think resources are the issue.
Sure, but will
Yeah.
you be as good as someone that has just put all their effort into? Say, if I once again, and this is where I'm still on, is if I just build scouts and just build frigates, right? And in scouts I use to mojito strike the other scouts and recons, right? I take as many of those as I can, and then I attack with frigates. I'm destroying all corvettes. There's not many scouts or recons left, and I'm even matched with other frigates and patrols. I think it's fantastic, and I think, or at least any combo like that, right? Pats and destroyers and corvettes, exactly like Krillin said. I think that's going to be a super meta build that you're going to see winners are doing it.
I see the argument for rapid rebuild of whatever bonus stations you have, but the micro you need for that, plus the incoming attack, if the range is right, you might have time to do it, but there's still a lot of nebulous stuff in the air that we really can't speculate. If the attack comes in and you're given a minute notification, good luck getting through all of your stations and changing that building in that time.
Yeah, it might actually be one of several strategies that there are in the game that you just can't do unless you have good micro.
Yeah, that's
I
really
mean-
an important thing you mentioned. Like in that sentence, if you're being attacked, and that's a very important thing in Dead Zone, because like Snuggums said before, like maybe playing the defensive part is the best, but I don't believe that, because like
Never
the
is.
Apaches has an attacking boost. Gatos Fritos is like it possibly defending, but raiding is still offensive.
I'll be right back, guys. You keep
Only
going.
Night Corps is offensive.
It's a scenario where defending is typically the worst case because the attacker knows the terms of the battle.
Yeah.
You're going to launch an attack knowing what is likely the scenario that happens. And the only way the defenders have the advantage is if they had an information advantage, they had a deployment that they didn't see, or the attacker literally just didn't check what they were doing. So really, the attacker has to make mistakes for the defender to have an advantage.
Now, to counterpoint that, though, let's say the way the defender wins, because the attacker chooses when a battle happens, the most common way a defender wins is no one deciding to attack them. And because this is a free-for-all game, and you gain nothing if you attack someone and lose, it's not like you have an alliance to back you up and come in after. Like, it may well end up being people who turtle well, who manage to just build up enough defenses that no one else wants to attack them, and haven't taken losses taking other people out. That's I think why Snuggums reckons defense will work really well.
I mean, that's true for any attrition style game, is if you can engage the enemy less and do nothing but build up your resources, and then hiding that fact, right? Because if you are very obviously the number one and you haven't had any fight, everyone's going to target you. And so it's going to be trying to ride that like number 5 or lower down on the list so that you don't seem like a threat and that you have a high defense. So because you don't seem like a threat, you don't seem like you're going to likely to win. And you have good defense.
Here's the thing, though. At least for the first round, where the top 5 people get in, would you be the first person to attack the first place person so you can try and get first place? Or would you just go after the second place person?
Or do you just let them live and hope someone else would go after them, right?
Yeah. Because
Don't
I
waste your
think
troops.
that might cause some really weird things. Like, it's possible we have someone who's never attacked and is sitting at rank 1 for the entire game.
And then gets nuked, right? Like, I mean,
they'll get Nightcorn you.
Well, it's kind of like Survivor, where you sit there and you see, it's like, oh, I'm going to let this person survive, so they cover up for me, right? Like, currently, they look big and bad, so it's good that I'm like, you might even reach out and try to ally with that guy. Hey, man, he'll probably get messaged by 24 of the 25 people, or 23 of the 25 people, like, being like, hey, ally up with me. And he'll be like, yeah. And so it'll be interesting to see if someone can hold the lead the whole time, just by stringing people along.
There's something else to consider too, in that again, the attackers dictate the actual battle. So if you have ships, say number one guy is focusing on one ship, and you have ships that are super effective against that, you're more likely to take that chance.
Yeah.
Take a chance. Take a chance.
Or
take a
if you
chance.
don't, and if you don't have that type matchup, maybe you don't target the ones that do have a good type matchup because you want them to attack the number one.
That's
Yeah.
actually a really good point, just because of how rock paper scissorsy it is, there'll always be someone who reckons they can beat whoever's on the top,
Right.
and that's actually really important for how the politics will play out.
Well, what they're
I
saying
could
in
see-
chat. You got it.
Maybe
That's actually the problem. If I'm less Apaches, and I go, for example, frigates and corvettes, I can beat any setup. Even a recon patrol guy can be beaten, even though he would normally be like the guy that could beat me. Because I got the Motitus attack, I own the assault.
Ah,
So if you are aggressive as less Apaches, you can actually not be beaten by any deck.
okay. So that's you'd say the strongest offensive strategy.
Right,
The
because against
aggressive
offensive, right? That's the other big problem again. You have to be the one attack, and like with 24 other people, that just can't always be the case.
Yeah, I think you need to. I think you do need to be offensive. You need to attack, but you need to be very careful when you're doing it.
don't know.
Like what I'm saying, where I want to remove someone from the map as soon as I can, because then it's done. Then I'm not fighting anymore, and I
Yeah.
can rebuild, and I have space to build in.
let's say you're number 2 or number 3, all right, and the number 1 has a huge lead or whatever, and he's a bad ship type for you. What if you go down to like number 5 or 6 and say, hey, your ship type is good against the lead, and I'm close enough to you that I could completely wipe you with no issue. Attack the lead for me, or I'll kill you.
Blackmail's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, the whole rock paper scissors round robin. But once again, what the chat's saying is like, honestly, even if you're 5th, you're probably the biggest target because you're gonna have 6 through 25 being like, oh, we could just take that guy out. Like we'll be good. We don't even have to mess with the top guy.
Here's the thing: if you're Night Core and you want to win, right, you don't take out the guy who's in 1st. If you're in 6th and you're Night Core, you go for the guy in 5th.
Or you go
And then
to the
you
closest
overtake
guy in
him.
top 5. Closest guy in top 5 works.
Yeah.
You could dodge any of these deadly meat. Like, will you actually be able to know what type of attack it is?
I don't think Matita
you'll
shows
just
up.
see an assault.
Yeah, you'll just see an assault, so you might
And
think
you can always
can-
stealth your assaults. That's
Yeah.
something very valuable. You can actually stealth every assault you do.
Yeah.
Mojito attacks
Are we on
are
to
gonna be
the-
deadly. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
Feca,
so-
by the way, you should really put some paper above your monitor just with Motitus on it. Motitus.
Mojitos.
No.
I've been to
Motitus.
Mexico enough to know how to pronounce mojito.
I mean,
It's not even
it's
Mexican.
a Mexican
you know?
drink, but okay.
It's not Mexican.
That's where
It's
I drink
Cuban.
them.
Wasn't it like Scandinavian?
I don't know, man. I just came back from Cancun, and the first thing they gave me was a mojito when I showed up. So,
Matitas is a finishing move.
Yeah, but I thought it was something like a Scandinavian thing.
a mojito can be a finishing move too. Don't get me wrong. it's one too many here, but all right. We'll get on to so Outpost. They have a whole thing with it. I kind of skimmed through the buildings. They're actually just basically what you would think. Like you said, the names are build lights faster, plunder, and stealth.
The stealth one is interesting though.
Yeah, well, that was interesting, but also like just. Like with Outpost, they said you don't have to do a certain amount of military buildings to build the missile battery, but if you do build the military battery, like the military building that does missile battery, they are helping those outposts. There's still kind of a connection. What do you have with Plunder itself?
Well, just the fact that there is an empire-wide stacking stealth bonus, and it used to be higher. So I look at it now and I think maybe it takes too long for it to reach that point. But as Tris was saying, this is a world where stealth beats scan. In the end, you can stealth every single movement if you want.
Yeah, I mean, you build this on every station, and you're getting plus 50 on every single station. Not to mention, once again, Plunder's a little bit better because it affects hangared units just already without the policy. So, yeah, I do really like Plunder and Stealth a lot. I'm actually kind of surprised it's the same building, and if I'm going to be completely honest here. I mean, I know it's Plunder by itself wouldn't be fantastic, but I would probably get just Stealth, right? If it was units get 50 Stealth on raid, depending on what these other ones are looking at. I mean, Spies get 10 Strength, of course that's fine. Scouts and Recons, but if you're not doing those. Production building,
I think people were building...
here.
Tridian, I think people were building their 4th station when the dev thing ended at around 2 hours.
Right.
So what we're thinking is during the game you'll be able to get somewhere between 6 and 9. I don't think anyone's done the whole maths on it. I don't think even Snookums has done the whole maths on it, and he's the only one with the numbers.
Right. Yeah, I mean...
I most certainly have not done the math on it, so I don't think any other player would.
Right. Exactly. So we'll kind of skip the buildings. There's gonna be a lot of intricacies with the buildings and organizations and stuff, but we'll just mix and match as we kind of go. Just they all kind of follow the same pattern, in all honesty. But like we said, the outposts, no commodity costs because we're not going to have events. No building requirements, just to take away a little bit of the micro stuff. Only have a single level, just like everything else. And don't be afraid to relocate your outposts. They're rather inexpensive. This is kind of what we were talking about, where I'm going to take down my Stargate and put up a fortress, right? So that's going to be interesting. Only having a single level. That's where they talked about like everyone can augment now. Augments are going to be much more powerful. So all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, with what it's mentioning about what you call it, how you can rebuild your outposts because they're quite cheap. Like on Snookums' stream, he built the trading port building to increase it, but like his trading port paid for itself in 10 minutes. Like that's how fast these things are. You can build a trading port during ESA, then tear it down and build a missile battery before like you're building your second station, and you've made a profit.
Do we know anything about the respawning? Will there be respawning? I didn't think so, but if you get
I
knocked
doubt
out,
it. I don't think they've said, but from what I've heard, they've implied no.
Logistics Hub can get permanent stealth in this mode, right? What does that mean? Like, as higher than any amount of scan?
Let's check the Logi Hub.
Yeah, so we're going through these. These are pretty much what you... Tier 2. Logistics Hub's in... Oh, no, this is 1, 2, 3. Okay. Or 2, 3, 4. Siege in the radius. Large hub covered by large hub. Please talk to the station.
Okay, it doesn't mention it here, but somewhere there's a scan versus stealth table.
We'll get to this too. These are the things we all know and love, just a little bit altered. I mean, they mostly do the same things as far as right. I haven't looked extensively at them. But we'll get to Scamber Strength is actually next right after this. All factions can augment. Empires start with 2 augment points. Empires generate 4 augment points per hour. Outposts, augment bonuses, all those similar functions. Yeah, I mean, they're saying dead zone augments typically have a higher impact, once again, because there's only 1 level, right? And then if you add 1 augment on it, they're doing a lot more stuff. Manage your augment points carefully. You'll need to prioritize how you use them. Normal augment stuff, just everyone has them, basically, in my opinion. But now we can get to the scan and stealth if you guys don't have anything crazy with that. And this is going to be what scan and stealth is. It looks like plunder and stealth stacking plus stealth system, logistics hub plus naval offices. It looks like
so that's a card, right?
Yeah, it should
like,
be.
what's the value of having 1 outpost that can be completely stealth?
Logistics hub specifically, that's pretty dangerous. But you can always spy a station and see if they have a logistics hub, right? Like,
yeah, and if I have 500 scan strength or 600 on your station, and you've got still 1 outpost that I can't see, I know it's a logistics hub.
What it matters for though is it can't be sabotaged. There's no way for your opponent to remove the logistics hub from the map.
That's a big one, actually. That's actually a pretty big deal.
And that makes me think it'd be quite good, because I reckon, like, turtling might, like, finding ways to turtle where you still have good claim strength might be really important, and logistics hubs have big enough radius that, like, you know, you might be able to have a turtle strategy with some logistics hubs, but still being maximum spread.
Yeah, and this another point, makes the augment a lot safer too. It's a sound augment investment. It can't be taken off, can't be sapped off.
Yeah.
So that's going to be something to look into for sure. Stealth will absolutely. I mean, like this says, plunder is cell stacking. I mean, honestly, you're just looking for honestly 610. I wouldn't build plunder and stealth anymore after 610. And I don't know the exact numbers to exactly get there. So
I mean, it'd be if you're Night Core, you have 50. Get the legendary, you're at 450, and then you just need 4 plunder and stealth buildings, and then you're
hit by that
invisible.
by 2 hours. So
Yeah.
max scan, it's looking like 600. If you that's how you kind of read these things. So that's kind of this will be a one-stop shop. It's exactly the same format and everything as the actual Sovereign Space Sabotage. A lot of people should be familiar with this kind of setup. We got into Sabotage specifically, works exactly like Sovereign Space, and outpost hit points have just been changed a bit.
Yeah, and this is at the sort of level where it takes, like, I think it takes 2 recon fleets for the tier 4s.
Now, what do you guys think of the existence of sabotage, actually? Do you think it's a good idea, or do you think there should be another way of sabotaging instead of with recon scouts?
I wish... So, I mean, I'm going to immediately take this off topic. But I just get so frustrated by the radiation, no stopping it. Like, how, like, sabotage units can, defend against the sabotage, like, or utility units can defend against sabotage. I wish somebody could defend against radiation. But as far as sabotage, I'm fine with it. I get it's, like you said, poor man Motitas. But, I mean, what are your main problems with it?
Well, the problem that you force everyone to build scouts and recons.
But it's not necessarily bad, because that's why they're the utility fleet, right? They're not necessarily as good at other things, but you can...
Well, scouts and recons aren't actually worse than frigates or destroyers. Like, they can bomb a station under a frigate. It's ass, actually.
What I'd like is, because it's a rock, paper, scissors, I'd like it if they really tied it in so that you have rock, paper, and scissors, but each of those 3 has their own unique thing. So because of that, I like sabotage being in. I think corvettes and destroyers should have their raiding benefits put even higher. And I think patrols and frigates should be given something. I don't know exactly what it would be, but if you had each 3 having something unique, then it just makes it balanced. It means whatever one you don't have, you feel like you're missing out. Well, so it's not scouts and recons being OP, and I think that adds a lot of depth to your rock, paper, scissors choice.
I feel like it was mentioned earlier, though, that frigates and corvettes or Pats and Desis would be the strongest combination, right? Like someone mentioned that earlier, like you'll beat everything, right? Whereas that's where I think sabotage does come in one aspect, that now you don't have sab defense. So I think it's kind of important, in my opinion.
Yeah, but there's also, like, the other effect. What you could do is, if you had those things like sabotage from scouts and recons, and destroyers and corvettes have the rating, there's the problem that currently it's not just sabotage for scouts and recons. It's also bombing. If you were to transfer that bombing to frigates, you'd basically have special abilities for all ship types. But right now, that bombing is just for scouts and recons, just like sabotage.
All ships have bombing, though. It's not like a unique ability. It's just they're slightly better at bombing, and the other 2 are slightly better at the other things.
Yeah, rating and sabotage.
It's not slightly. It's not slightly. Because you need 4.7 hours of heavy ship queue of frigates to bomb out a station, and that's like 2 times the amount you need for frigates than for recon.
I think your math is off.
Well, like 2 times is...
I know this is a bold statement to make when you have this many spreadsheets, but I think your math is off, because, like, recons only have 25 more bombing than frigate fleets.
But you're forgetting the prime stats, I'm afraid.
Oh,
Well,
prime stats.
Prime stats.
There we go.
There.
Oh, what do you mean by prime stats?
If you build the improved recon organizations, you get more bombing.
Okay. Yeah, no, those will be.
Stats buildings turn some of those benefits weird.
Exactly. And that's the thing that makes bombing for recon so much better than, for example, the FP and HP for the frigates. Which is also why I had to take it in for the, for my combat deck calculator.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to Grace time. We're already almost 20 minutes past the streaming time, but I kind of do want to compose this all into a little video, so I think it'll help just to at least get through this. But before it's just us three left and the rest of the people leave us, we'll knock out a grace period. So when a server's launched, there's going to be a 10 minutes grace period. Radiation does not spawn during this grace period. During the grace period, you can only examine the map, place pins, choose a faction. I think place pins is something that not a lot of people necessarily take seriously, but I think that's going to be huge, especially when you're trying to micro stuff. Once grace time's up, players can start to interact with the game properly. You cannot start playing until you've selected a faction. Dude, this is going to be a bug report. Like, people are going to be freaking out. They're like, why can't I do something? So expect to see that in support if that's there. Additionally, there's a grace period that lasts 10 minutes in the server where natural radiation does not spread, but player spread radiation can still spread. I don't like this. What are your guys' opinion on that?
I agree with you entirely.
I can't stand the fact why you need to also stop player spread radiation, at least for the last 5 minutes, or I don't think that adds to Night Corps. I hate it.
It makes Night Corps less playable because it makes us witch hunt them.
And that might even be the counter, right? Depending if we actually witch hunted them. But yeah, maybe we can bully everyone into not playing Night Corps. Like,
if it appears to be very possible to actually witch hunt the Night Corps players, yeah, that's going to be very bad for them. That we can easily witch hunt them.
Yep.
When we identify them, because they are such a threat. They can basically say, "Hey, I might not be winning,
right.
Neither will you."
They can be 25th, and they can ruin someone's. They can knock at least the 5th person out.
Yeah.
And a few of them could really hurt the first person. You can knock them all the way down. So,
yeah.
I don't like it. We talked to Stingos about this today in the Dead Zone chat. We're like, hey man, and I think he mostly said time restriction, etc. But man, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. But I'll not harp on it too much. I am excited about most of the rest of the game. I would just suck to play 4 hours of a game and then have just some, bitter Night Corps player that you almost killed that ran across the galaxy send a bunch of indies at you and take all your hexes. And it's gonna happen. Let's join together. No, whoa, Onyx, you're taking it too far. No. It's if they have more than one indie fleet, you're a Night Corps player. Yeah.
No. Boards can have 2 indie fleets.
I don't care. They're on the list. They're on the list.
As Feca said earlier, he wants to sacrifice Bort's children.
I don't want to. It's just you're on the list, right? You're on the Predator list now. You have more than 2, or you have 2. 3 is definitely. 3 is for sure because that's what's happening.
Definitely.
3 done. You are dead. We're posting in global. Everyone needs to jump on board. Attack the Night Corps player. They can ruin your game. I don't know why Onyx is saying recons and stuff.
I think Onyx thought that scouts and recons saw the radiation just because it's a stealth-based faction.
Yeah, no. It's indies that do it, Onyx. So it's going to be big. We got to get rid of anyone that... If you have 3 indies, post it in global. If you spy someone and they have 3 fleets of indies, be like, yo, that guy's a witch, kill him. And everyone should attack him. Everyone needs to respect it because it could go really poorly and then be like, yo, that guy's a witch. And then no one responds and all the witches gang up on him and kill him. We need to be together. We need to make sure
also,
so then the meta would...
Tridian saying that the Borts might have indie fleets, and this did come up earlier, but I had to think about it, right? Borts need the fewest industrial fleets.
That's what I was saying.
One industrial fleet does the whole game for them.
Yes!
Well, a Borts player, that depends. Like, I think teaming is going to be a big thing, and a teaming boards player wants more industrial fleets to clean radiation for his team. So
That's
teaming boards
actually
player
true.
has 2
Which-
industrial fleets with
It's a
Like,
potential
that's how
witch
you-
for sure.
That's
I think it'd
how
be-
you identify boards.
I think it'd be interesting as a board to be like, oh yeah, I'm just clearing radiation. I got a bunch of indie fleets, and then you night corpse them.
See, this thinking is why we must bomb
This
them.
is why
There can be
everyone
no
gets
more-
bombed. Everyone gets
Because I would
bombed.
do that. I this is definitely a game that I wouldn't want to play to win, but I will 100% play it to mess with everyone else.
Yeah, well then you're gonna be Night Corpse, right? But it's gonna be fun if you do play as Night Corpse, trying to hide the fact you're Night Corpse, like we were talking about earlier. Like for 3 hours, don't sow any radiation, right? Like just sow doubt in other people. Like be spying people, like fake the spy reports. Like take the time to go edit it and paint. Be like, look, he has 3 indies. Here's the proof. And you're like, oh, you son of a no way. So that kind of stuff's gonna be funny.
Do you want to know how you can, as bots, start messing with people? You just bounce all of their station builds. So like you spy them, you see where they're building, you bounce their station build, then you bomb them out because you have an advantage.
How do you bounce their station build? What's your plan?
Your industrials are faster than theirs. Wherever they want to build, you build there first.
You have a plus 100. You have a plus 100 speed on your boards.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah.
twice as fast.
But I'll just equip a rare card for speed on my
Huh?
indies. I'll be
But-
fine.
I don't think you get it on station builds though.
Seriously.
Yeah, you don't get any of that in station build. So the big thing, once again, so this further pushes the point that Borts need the least indies. They have the fastest indies. They don't die on radiation. You only need 1 fleet. We only have 10 fleets total. If you're rocking 2 fleets, you're on the list. If you're rocking 3 fleets, you're going down. You are for sure a Night Corpse if you're rocking, because you need 3 to do maximum radiation, right?
I think you can do it with 1.
I thought they said
you can do
3.
it with one fleet of 100 industrials and legendary carded. That's
Triss is just very confident about how much radiation you'd want to sow at once.
Okay, then 2 is done. 2's on the list, man. 2's you're gonna get killed. Don't build more than 1 indie. I'm not gonna lie.
the point is
One
a boards
industrial.
player needs just 30 industrials in a fleet,
Right.
except for 1 fleet with outposts. So if someone has 2 fleets that are both more than 30 industrials, then he's gonna get bombed out.
No, that's too merciful. Like, what if they're just hiding industrials? They
No,
might really be
I'm
100
just kidding,
industrials.
everyone.
I want to be upfront. I think we should stop talking about this because I don't want people to know what I'm doing.
Right, yeah, so that's the problem. I'm already gonna be streaming it, so I'm talking about it. You guys can add what you want. I'm already having to live with this horrible reality that I will get destroyed. But it'll just be us. That's a special bonus to people, watching the stream. It's also kind of helping each other because we're talking to each other. This is only right now we're at 16 viewers, right? Like, so this is like us 16, like us 16 plus maybe us 3 in chat. And that's not the full game, right? So we're just helping each other, really, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Triss is the only one really losing anything because he has done way more work than all of us combined.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not actually losing anything because I've done a lot more work than I'm showing here. So
Right. It's always the careful balance of Starborne, and I've always played more on the side of give more information out and you'll get more back, right? So we'll see. We'll see if it plays out that way. If not,
I've planned a podcast. Well, I don't want to call it a podcast, but it's like a podcast on Monday for a reason. Like,
what are you doing?
well, the strategy stuff I planned it first on Friday, but I was like, no, I don't want to do it on Friday. First of all, because the dev team is kind of busy right then, so I wouldn't be able to invite a dev, and it will also be like a good review for the Deadzone Tournament. So I think testing strategies in the tournament will be a great thing, and then a review of them on Monday,
Cool.
where I can also publish all my calculations without having to fear that people use them against me.
Well, if you want an outlet, man, if you're not already doing it on Biggles podcast, if you want to come do it at Fab, or obviously if you want to do it on your own, that's cool too. But we're more than welcome. I love the amount of shit you do. It's been the amount of work you put into this has just been dumb. But
Yeah, I just gotta win it.
yeah, you gotta.
I
win.
gotta prevent cheap
yeah, we'll see how nice you are once you if you win it or not. But all right. So we'll get to cards real quick. So there's gonna be no time cards, no common cards, which is cool. Like I'm down with it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's more work, right? No half cards anymore. There's a single version of HP. Oh, so there's no like HP in the first slot.
There's no armor coating,
right?
Sort of stuff. But you can still put HP in the first slot because they're not unique anymore.
Right. Exactly. So HP, FP, bomb cards no longer require unique to fit into both hardpoint and hull slots. So that's kind of what you were saying again. Utility slot fits plunder, only fits plunder, stealth, or class bonus cards, which I'm guessing is basically what we're kind of working with tactics instead.
Yeah.
Are tactics out? Have we read that yet?
I
no
swear
idea
to God,
tactics. If
I haven't
tactics
read
are
it
in
yet.
this game, ugh. Okay, we haven't read it. Let's go to the very beginning. Let's see what stuff they've taken out.
Should I take the latest stream and see if it has been removed?
Can someone PM Singums right now, or just post it like at Snuggums in the Dead Zone chat? Like, are there going to be tactics? I haven't
I'll
seen
check
anything
the
for
latest
it.
stream of Snuggums
Okay,
and see if
okay.
it was in there.
Let me know. We'll try to finish this out if you get it beforehand.
Already
God,
watching.
dude, if there's also tactics, I don't think there will be. Honestly, I don't think there's tactics. But we'll see.
In the last test, there were tactics.
Oh my god. This is Plinko, dude. We're gonna play a random game where you randomly win. That's just gonna be how it is. And
It's like the third stone paper scissors.
Yeah.
Like, there's Night Corps, Sports, and Hammer. There's destroyers, frigates, and recons, and now there's like tactics.
It's 2 out of 3. Best 2 out of 3. Rock, paper, scissors. That's how it goes.
Let's
Okay.
just continue the stacked rock paper scissors.
More rock, paper, scissors. More rock, paper, scissors. All right. Industrials can equip stealth cards. We've kind of hit on that they can be very stealthy. Industrial outpost cards that grant speed also work on both radiation movements, cleaning up and sewing. So that's good as well.
Tactics are in the game, at least lost in the test. So they might remove it since they haven't changed like the tactic changing time. So if I were to change to pincer tactic, I think it would still take 8 hours to change.
Oh my god. So every station is going to be the same. Everything's stuck at their first one, right?
I mean, I have some account-tied command cards, and I doubt they've managed to stop me putting those into Dead Zone.
No, but well, actually, no, it depends because they said it's going to be like where you have to log out and click Dead Zone, and it's kind of like how we do the test server. When you go to the test server, none of your account stuff is there, right?
Yeah.
Your blueprints.
Or is it?
They're hoping the blueprints are there, though. That's one thing they've said.
I don't know if I love that, but whatever it is, it is. Little they know, I went 10-0 in RPC match. I don't know.
Rock, paper, scissors, I think he means.
God.
I mean, yeah, you can
RPS.
win rock, paper, scissors competitively.
Onyx, I don't know if they want blueprints. I think they probably just couldn't figure out how to take them out, maybe, or something dumb like that. Like
I think they were. I think they were wanting them just because they're big on account progression. I'm kind of
dumb, dude.
I'm kind of on the wall about whether I'm happy they're in or not.
I don't like account progression, but that's a whole another Twitch stream, a whole another pod. So we'll move on. We'll go through the cards. This is just mostly you guys can kind of just look through the cards. It's not common cards. Anything that you guys haven't heard us talking about is not going to be in here. I'll kind of scroll through them for a second, but I don't think there's any surprises, right?
The most valuable card I see in this whole set is Missile Battery Radius.
Yep.
That and the Naval Offices for Logistics Hub that we've talked about already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I stacking missile batteries is going to be strong, especially if you're not building scouts or recons, because some people, you're only going to pick 2 out of 3. People that are playing the meta are only going to pick 2 out of 3, right? 1 light ship, 1 heavy ship, and they're going to be different. But I think you'll find a lot of people that aren't playing the meta. I think you'll probably find people with just scattered ships, and that's going to be how you win the game. The Mojito Strike is going to be strong when that happens. Credits are generated passively over time in Dead Zones. You're just getting a base already. Base generation for all empires at 3,000 per hour. Once again, that's per hour, so I mean it looks crazy, but like it's only 4 hours total. They're building and special hexes that increase this. We've kind of gone over both those as well. And then he lists some tips. Increase your credits per hour is thoroughly recommended. Obviously, it's going to be helpful to get more credits per hour. Manage your credits carefully. Carding is super important. Like we've talked about, Fortress cards are incredibly important on top of the cards he's mentioned. Rare cards are worth it if you're on a budget. Absolutely. To Legendary card, 5 stations and 10 fleets in Empire would need to generate 16k credits per hour. I like that he added that from start to finish. Do you think it's possible?
Yeah, very possible. That requires you claiming. Yeah, that's that. You could do that within your first 3 stations. You could get that much output.
As Gatos, you think?
You get.
I mean, Gatos would make it even easier. Yeah.
Yeah, you get Gatos. You build your first station for a 3k extra boost. That means, and you claim a debris field, large debris field with your second station. That already puts you at 12k. Now Gatos gives a boost of 2400. Means you're already at 1400 and 400 credits per hour without actually use it with 2 stations. So that could basically be after 20 minutes.
Yeah, I reckon the way credits are looking so far, it's a question of do you have full legendary carding or is some of it still epic? That's what the difference between the best and the second best will be.
Well, the question is, do you really need the legendary carding on your station? And I think there are plenty of good epic cards that are just different that you want in your station. And therefore, you won't go for all those legendaries and therefore can get legendaries on your fleet.
Also, multi-sets. I can imagine I'm going to rock one set and then right towards the end of the game, I might be rotating my entire everything on my station. So that might be a thing too, where it's not necessarily, legendary carding 5 stations, which once again, they were at 4 stations at 2 hours. So we're going to be much past 5 stations later in the game. So we're going to need much more than 16k credit out. Okay, and then also depending on if you want multiple sets for the same station.
Yeah, there is a bonus scan range for your capital. That's one of the cards you can still buy, and that's one of the non-legendaries I'd consider.
Yeah.
Yeah, the extra scan range on your capital, that's also a station building, I think. And that would let you scan all your neighbors. That's something I really like.
Yeah, if you build that station, you immediately have 300 scan strength on all your neighbors' stations.
Yeah,
which might be good enough.
Tridian, I think it's card switching exactly like in normal Starborne. It's like a few credits.
Yeah, same credit cost as before, which is pretty small.
Yeah,
on the scale of things.
Right.
But yeah, multiple sets is actually something where it will be harder to reach.
And it's going to be a thing for sure. I'm going to be wanting to rotate stuff out constantly, and we're going to be much past 5 stations. So that's a good median for where you're going to be at. Maybe around 5 or 6 hours, or around probably 2-3 hours, maybe. But I think you're going to be much past 5 stations. I mean, maybe 8. I'm thinking 8 is probably going to be a good number.
Also realize that they decrease the amount of XP you need for next station in the last changelog. Okay. So you're going to be at even more stations.
Right. Alright, we're going to move on real quickly. We've already talked about the spawns. I just want to hit it one last time. Just now that we know kind of the outposts and stuff, that's where kind of the gray battlefields you'll find debris. I think and then white is where you'll find special hexes. So now that we kind of know about black is debris, tons of debris, that's where you're getting extra credits. Yellow is where you're actually starting, and then white you'll be able to contest at least a good amount of special hexes. And that's where I don't mind that some hexes are worse, because you might not be fighting over as much. Map is tight, and young stations are vulnerable. Be careful when overextending. I think that's going to be a huge thing, right?
Yeah.
First player joins center yellow hex, and I think joining players in spiral. Sue me? Oh no! What?
Yeah, this is Snookums not being sure how they spawn.
This is exactly why I'm playing the test server, or at least I'm hoping to play the test server. I'm going to make a video of it and watch it back and get that spawning order.
If you wait, you kind of risk not getting into the server if you're last, right?
Yeah, but that's even if you I'll just get a general idea of what the spawning order is.
It's so bad. I guess it's better than the opposite. If you start on the edge Like, and then the last player to join got the middle. That would kind of suck. At least you got a lot more time to figure it
What
out.
do you think are the best spots on the map?
I-
Because I think
Yeah, you go first.
okay. When you look at like the top 2 hexes there, the yellow ones.
Yeah.
Then you go to the hex. If you go to the left hex there, and then 1 hex down, 1 hex left. I think that's the best spawning spot.
So the way I look at it, I see 3 triangles when I look at this, right? I see the far outside triangle of stations. I see this middle triangle, and I see the fucking middle spot, right? I think this is the by far worst spot. I think these middle spots, if you play an aggressive game and you can maybe take out one of these outside guys and kind of claim their hexes, I think you'd be in a fantastic spot. I'm probably going to be looking for one of these middle spots. I think that'd be great. On the outside, like, I mean, you're mentioning these are pretty good, but like, you could be crammed. If you end up with 2 good players here, you can only go one way. This is my Alpha 9 Server 1 experience, where the only direction I could go was towards Zorka, and that's not a direction you want to go.
Like, why I wouldn't want to be on the most outer hexes. Like, I would want to go, like, if you go to the hex most bottom left, like the one right to that.
Right.
I've got 4 neighbors, and I've got 6 neighboring regions.
Yeah.
So
Those
gives
seem
me,
like
those are like great.
Yeah, those seem like they might be the best spots. But, you know, then again, if the middle is the worst spot, and everyone knows the middle is the worst spot, and everyone knows whoever's in the middle isn't going to be a threat because they're in the worst spot.
That's a good point. I see where you're going with this. I can connect the dots. Like, you might have some mercy, right? Like, yo, dog, I'm in the middle. Don't mess with me, right? I can mess with anybody, but everyone's going to feel bad for messing with me. Or, like, I have the most connections. Because also when you talk about politics, you know, if you spawn over here at the bottom right, and then the really good players are up at the top left, and there's 3 of them, and you want to ally with them, they have no reason to ally with you. Now, if you're in the middle, there's a lot of reason to ally with you. You're also already a bigger target. So, yeah, sure, I'll ally with you because you're a big target, right? And once again, the survivor mindset.
Now, one other thought that I had on it is, let's say you're right next to the middle. What direction are you going to expand? Are you going to expand outwards or inwards?
Outward. I already said it, right? So that's another great point. Yeah.
So the middle is the new edge. That's what I'm saying.
It might not be as bad as people think. Like, immediately, first reaction is horrible. It's gonna be awful. But if you can play your cards right, if you're a creative person, now if you go in, you spawn middle, and you quit the game, that's your fault, right? But like I said before, this game is Plinko, right? Like you're gonna throw your chip at the top. It's gonna dink, 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 dink. You might win, you might not. You can do it from the middle still. So like anything can happen, right? There could be full out wars. Like, you know, you have 5 people up here, 5 people to the left, 5 people to the right, and they're all fighting each other, and you're sitting in the middle, just claiming your hexes. You know, like, all right, don't mind me. You might have something there. I think it's still the worst, but I don't think it's the end of the world.
Yeah, I think it's the worst, but as we've said with a lot of things, the politics means that being given the worst option isn't necessarily the worst thing to be given.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean that sums it up as amazing as I can. Can we unclaim hexes Onyx? We kind of talked about it a bit. We're not sure. We know in the current game you can unclaim. We know you can unclaim them. We don't know how they'll count it. If they don't count it, if you unclaim and they take your score down, we will all be unclaiming hexes. I mean, that's just without a doubt. That's just the end of the game. I would assume currently that's still gonna how it's be. It was mentioned until you level up a station or you create a fortress. That might be what actually triggers it to redo it, but that'll be how it is. Radiation, we've talked about this 1,000,001 times. I really am at the end. We've talked about the last 2 slides, so this will be pretty much the last one. It starts appearing after grace time. Every 2 minutes, a hex is randomly selected. And a radiation, I don't like the word fleck, but here it is. A random size is generated, can have 1, 2, or 3 hexes. This is where I talk about Plinko a million times over, where 3 hex radius, it's a 10% chance, but that's going to happen twice to me. We're going to guarantee it. Like, player-generated hexes grow in size the more cargo the industrial fleets have. It also shows specifically if it's player-generated, so you'll know. That's kind of right here. You'll see the debris in the middle, so you'll know if it's which. Use the hex option in the radial menu, and they kind of do a little diagram. Radiation flex outclaim players. This is why we're really kind of upset, and we think it's super random because you just have a bunch of Night Corps players. Kill the Night Corps players. I can't say it enough. Radiation does not put outposts online. That was the question asked before. Fleek, noun is a very small patch of color light. Yeah, I don't like Fleck. I don't know. Any last kind of opinions on this? I think we've hit radiation 1,000,001 times, so.
And the witch.
Burn the Witch. I think that's enough. And honestly, the last two, we've gone over factions to start out with. We've sat on this one for a while when we went over the Excel sheets. I think Burn the Witch is the best way to end this.
Burn the Witch.
Burn the Witch, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah. Burn the Witch. Not the board. It's a fine line. I'm not gonna lie. It's a fine line you're walking. Yeah. And thank you guys for asking questions as we go through that. Thanks so much to Tristanvds and Roedhip specifically. Obviously, Krillin, Muse, Panda, everybody else that joined the chat. Thanks so much for joining us. But specifically, thank you to you guys for adding a ton of input into this. I think it's gonna help a lot of people. But we'll end it there. Burn the Witch, guys. Thanks so much.